All right, we're officially recording, my friend. Thank you for coming. First of all, I appreciate you making the trip. Appreciate you coming out here and hanging out with us. This is Burn the Ship. The goal of Burn the Ship is to connect entrepreneurs with professionals that can help you go all in on your business. People that have walked the walk and talked the talk and been through all of those challenges that we experience as entrepreneurs in the small business world. And so, without stealing your thunder, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and introduce your business?
Well, my name is Warren Tingen. I run Tingen Creative, which is a firm dedicated to marketing and branding consulting for real estate properties and businesses. We do that focus, but are happy to accommodate any other type of work. Done a number of things throughout my career, but really enjoy the real estate space and helping them achieve what their goals are by marketing or branding a property or even their business to really engage with their target audience.
Absolutely. So, tell me a story. Tell me, kind of what your background was in your previous life and how it led you to being, your entrepreneur in your own business, kind of where your business is going.
Well, my initial degree was in marketing communications, advertising. And I worked for a number of companies doing athletics and then pet food. And I got put into CBRE, which is a global real estate firm here in Atlanta, and really enjoyed my time there and helped them. It was early 2003 that I joined their team and helped them develop some of the digital marketing efforts that they were just burgeoning.
Sure.
2000s was the kind of real growth of the internet. And so email marketing really wasn't a thing per se, especially in the real estate marketing space. So we helped launch those. And then I did microsites and other collateral in the digital space for my teams that were selling properties, be it them office, industrial, or whatever. But out of there, I was doing a commute that was just not conducive to my lifestyle.
Sure.
and the current period of my life. I had young kids, and from where I lived, it was a 2-hour commute one way.
Mm-hmm.
And so that got to be a little difficult. And an opportunity showed up much closer to home, and so I took that opportunity. But during the time with the hospital that I worked for, I continued to keep in contact with a number of brokers, and they referred me to others as they moved one shop to another. And so I kept in touch with those and did work on a freelance basis with them and really enjoyed that. And over the last couple of years, I got to a point where I felt I'd grown enough with the hospital, and I honestly was getting to feel too comfortable.
Sure.
And we talked a little bit over the phone and a little bit earlier about fear. And my brother, who is also an entrepreneur, he's been poking at me for years.
What does he do? What's his industry?
He is a lawyer, and he
really?
has his own law firm in Virginia, doing immigration and business law.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I have one of my best friends actually just graduated from law school and is doing stuff for corporate law as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a tough road, so I have some respect for that. I can understand it.
It has been. He's been in business for 10 years.
Oh,
and,
wow.
He's has his own podcast one of them is called Nation of Immigrants, and then I recently helped him rebrand his business as they were moving locations to really focus in on those key elements that he wants to do going forward with his business. So immigration, business law, and intellectual property law. So with him poking me over the last couple of years, I was like, and then the pandemic, obviously that changed a lot of mindsets, a lot of minds for people, and I just looked at it as an opportunity to take that leap, to burn that ship.
Oh yeah.
And it was uncomfortable, but that's one of the things I told my brother as we were rebranding his thing and doing a little podcast with him about the rebrand was, if there's not a little fear involved, you're not doing it right. It has to have some risk. There has to be is this truly going to work? And it motivates you to put forward.
It lets you know that you're doing something that the common person wouldn't tackle because it isn't easy.
Right.
And it isn't mentally easy. It's a difficult thing.
Exactly. And so a little bit of fear is a good thing. It's motivating. I mean, we've missed our caveman roots where, that was kind of a constant.
No, yeah.
So now we get into these comfortable things, and over the last couple of years, I just felt too comfortable, and it was really picking at me mentally on my own, and then my brother reaching out to me as well. And part of that uncomfortable feeling of being too comfortable where I decided to go into an MBA program at University of West Georgia. And when I completed that, it just kind of opened my eyes to the opportunities that I could do my own business. And now understanding both the creative side of things, so advertising, graphic design, those kind of things, and then understanding the business jargon and information and understanding how to market things in that perspective, I wanted to bridge those gaps and really bring that to market. And so leaning on the roots of real estate, commercial real estate primarily with industrial and office and other things, I'm like, oh, well, I can continue to do this and really niche down into this and really enjoy this. And part of my thought process too, seeing how the pandemic has really impacted real estate in its own, if I can make this work in these dire times, it's going to work in those prosperous times.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, again, going back to the burning the ship, let's see what we can do. Let's get creative, that creative side with the business side of things and really advance that position.
Yeah,
and what
absolutely.
can I offer? What are the skills that I've learned over the years that allow me to do that? And so I sat down and thought about that, and my brother helping me out with it. So,
Yeah, absolutely. So what's next from here? Are you sticking with that real estate sphere and continuing to market kind of directly to that place? Like kind of what's the next level for your business?
I am definitely sticking in the real estate sphere. My primary focus within real estate is commercial, hospitality, and high-end residential. So those are the kind of three niches that I like. And the reason I like space is because or real estate space is it goes back to my high school days when I wanted to be an architect and got into a drafting class and just really enjoyed seeing those spaces. And what I tell a lot of my clients and customers is that, we will create a space, but then that space continues to recreate us as we inhabit it, as we
For sure.
manage it. I mean, your space here, you guys had this blank room and now you have this an awesome podcast studio, and it shapes your imagination and what you're able to offer and who you invite as well. I mean, I see all the wonderful rock bands and other things
music
that are on there, so you're shaping this space, but it's in turn shaping you based on the type of business that you're doing and those things. And so space is always an important thing to me, just seeing how it impacts our lives. It's just really fascinating, just all those nuances. And then it goes into space design. How can we make it more human? How can we make it more engaging to the occupants, the inhabitants of that space? What are the amenities that are needed, and how can we showcase those as part of our marketing efforts to really pull that audience in?
Oh yeah,
so
absolutely.
There's so many facets of real estate.
And you've kind of got to ride the wave. You know what I mean? Like your industry is an industry, well, I guess not technically the marketing in real estate, but working in the real estate sphere so closely, you kind of understand the ups and downs of the market and really what people need to portray that create, buying signals for people that are selling or for people that are doing office space or commercial, anything like that, where, you're really engaging people with where they are in their businesses as well, is what I found is very, very important. Like, I frequent like Atlanta Tech Village and Switchyard and some of those places in Atlanta that are very tech oriented, and very startup oriented for people, and they have absolutely geared their space to their audience. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I can only imagine how much more important that is in the real estate sphere versus just from attracting a certain demographic of people to do business with you. So I understand the rationale, but I understand that there's so much to learn specifically in that, because you've been through it in so many different phases.
Yeah. You talk about a cycle. I've been through 3 of them in my lifetime.
Yeah. 2
of which I'm deeply involved in real estate.
Sure. So you went from 03 to 8 and then the back down, and then we've been back up, and then you've been through another pandemic.
Here we're at kind of the bottom curve. I don't know if we've yet reached the bottom. I was just looking at the rates from the Fed today, and
they're going to increase again for the 11th time in a row or whatever.
Right. Well, last year at this time it was 1.75, and now it's 5.25. So
It's
Those
a difference
rates,
of like, for people that don't really understand what that is, it's a difference of like, 12 or 13 grand on a $300,000 house, which is not a big house today, and
yeah,
makes that $300,000 house $350,000. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
it's a difficult market, I guess, for everyone in both directions. You know what I mean? Because it's probably a difficult market for sellers as well as it's an interesting market for buyers as well, because sometimes you find a really good opportunity. So
Yeah, and you also in the marketing sphere, you got to think about all the other connections that those spaces have beyond just your buyer and seller. Who are the people that supply stuff to that area? Who are the people? What are the amenities surrounding it? Is there food nearby? Is there entertainment nearby? What other things are associated with that property? And so you've got to look at all of those things and not just the property itself to really, especially today when we've got to really creatively think about, okay, how can this space be utilized, and who can utilize it?
yeah,
Because you talk about that tech park in Atlanta. What was that previously?
the Jay could answer it to you, but it was like an IKEA or something like
Right,
that. Like it
right.
was a big furniture store with
So
a bunch of different floors that sold different stuff.
exactly. And so they've taken that space and reshaped it for a new audience that will now reshape it to their own needs. So it's just fascinating seeing those stories. And that's a big part of the whole marketing effort for me, is that storytelling. Well, where's this property been? Where is it now? Where is it going? Those kind of things really engage an audience to say, oh, well, this space really is interesting to me. There's some historical perspective to it. Or I know I can shape this to be the next tech park or whatever that's going to be.
Sure,
So,
absolutely, that makes sense. And so, as you kind of rolled up your sleeves and became that entrepreneur, with some outside motivation, what were some of those skills that you would say you kind of employed early that helped you be successful? Skills from your past life that you kind of took to being a business owner that helped you kind of push the ball down the hill at the beginning. And on the flip side of that coin, tell me a little bit about what was difficult. What you didn't know you needed to be good at. On day one, that you kind of had to learn something and go through something to say, okay, I need to add this tool to my bag.
right. Well, I think for my own part, I think I'm a pretty good communicator, both verbally and written. I feel I've done a really good job with that, with current clients, past clients, and potential clients in the past, in the future. But I think one of the things, and I think any entrepreneur is going to struggle with this, is just lead generation, because previously to this point, it was just word of mouth, and it was something I did in the evenings or on the weekend to kind of have a little play money occasionally. But now I've converted it into an actual business, and so it needs to be profitable. It needs to be a little bit more. And so how do I get those leads coming in? And so I've employed a number of things, from my social media, considering a podcast of my own, working on that angle. And then reconnecting. That's one of the things that I wish I had done more of over the last couple of years, is not sit behind my computer so much, just doing the work and being out engaging with people. And the last year was my first full year of the business officially. And I just really enjoyed going out, meeting people and connecting with them, especially on the tail end of, what the pandemic left us all with, is all of us kind of scared to go out, not hang out with our friends and family and others. And just, you can see the people opening up to that now, wanting to be engaged, wanting to connect with people again and reconnect and make those friends, or reconnect and make new friends. So that's been a fantastic thing for me, is just the opportunity to go and visit with people again and communicate. And like I said, one of those skills. So the lead gen thing is kind of the hardest thing for me right now, is looking at that and how can I get more people coming in. So
Yeah, sure. So what's kind of the remedy for that for you? Because I think that that's not an uncommon thing for your industry. You know what I mean? Like, having that marketing brain and understanding those marketing skills and spending so much time doing it for other businesses and instances outside of what you regularly do seems to be something that marketing companies, in at least from my experience with the people that I've dealt with, You kind of have to find that unconventional way to reach out to people, something that kind of sits outside of the mold of what you're implementing for a lot of your clients, because your brand's probably a lot more diverse than the client that you onboard on day one. So what do you see as kind of the remedy for that moving forward as you kind of think outside the box as far as lead generation goes?
Well, I think one, you need to, as an entrepreneur, and this is speaking to the entrepreneurs in the audience, just you got to think of this as a long-term game. This is not a tomorrow I'm going to get 20 leads or I'm going to get 100 leads that are going to suffuse what I need. So you've got to determine where you believe your audience is. So for my part, I think my audience is more focused in LinkedIn as far as social media goes, and then networking events. So finding those networking events for the particular niches within the niche that I've chosen. So as someone looking not in the real estate space, you've got to do a little research on your own, figure out where that is. And there are a lot of resources online that you can find that help you with that. You just scour Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and search those hashtags that you find on your own that circle your business, and then do a little research on those and find out, okay, how much is this audience? Are they really here? And so that's what I did with LinkedIn. My social media platform of choice is LinkedIn, because they're professionals. There's a lot of real estate brokers and tenant reps and other professionals that are looking for space for their office or a warehouse or other things. And then there's a lot of more affluent people on LinkedIn concerned with how they're going to connect with their lives and their audiences. And so that's my preferred place of choice. And Instagram is kind of a close second. And then YouTube, obviously, that's just a great place to be for anybody.
Yeah, it's the hardest, but it's the most, your brand stands there the longest. That's
right.
For sure.
And you got so much evergreen content that you can put on there, with a podcast or whatever, that will stand the test of time and potentially generate leads. So one, I think you need to look at it as a long-term game. Do a little research on your own to figure out, where is that audience? Because like we've talked about, marketing companies, they've already done that research. They know where their niche is. And so they've already made that funnel for those leads. And me coming back into this, and again, it goes back to that fear. I didn't really have a lot of contacts. I had those individuals that I'd kept up with, but I didn't have anybody beyond them, beyond their networks. And so just enhancing your network, finding those people initially, connecting with them, asking for referrals, asking for testimonials, that will help you engage with their network further on. And so those are the steps that I'm taking to engage with people. And I've joined a local real estate group here in Atlanta that does a luncheon every month. And at the end of July, I'm actually giving a presentation on AI and how AI can impact their work flows and their efforts to market real estate. So,
I'm sure, being in the marketing sphere, have you heard of the customer value journey?
Oh, yeah.
So that's something that's new to me, and this is something actually I think would be pretty cool to show some of the people that are watching. Here, give me 2 seconds.
Go ahead.
Let me pull up this. So this is like a really good way to show it here. Here, I'll pull up some. Just don't see as good as I used to. You know it? Truly,
Yeah,
I really don't.
Know that feeling. I recently got progressives, so.
Oh yeah,
I sympathize.
That man, where is that thing I just had pulled up?
Go back.
See the
if
image.
you right click that, and then you just hit open image one more down.
Oh yeah.
And you just get the image. So there you have
it. Yeah.
it.
So this, they can see it pretty good. So like down here is your awareness stage, right? And then you have. Awareness is people know about you. And the way that I had this described to me was actually from a really brilliant guy who put it into like a dating aspect. So, awareness is like if we're on Tinder and this is the first time I ever see your profile, like I'm aware of you, I'm aware that you're in life. Engagement is we've actually, swiped on each other. We've been connected. We've begun to exchange messages or whatever. This subscription phase here, he described it as, okay, like here's my number, or take the messaging outside of that dating, out of that original platform. Then you have your conversion phase, like your first date. Right. That excitement is that feeling that you get after your first date that something really good is happening. Right. Ascending is turning that into more and more things, and then you have your advocacy and your promotion stage. I think is probably I think these first 6 stages people do decently well. I would say that people do these 6 stages better than they do these 2 stages ever. But your advocacy is like if the girl that you're dating would go back to her family and say, oh, he's a good guy, you should meet him. You know what I mean? They can actually advocate for your character. They have the relationship built with you. Yeah. And then that promotion stage is where someone becomes an extension of your marketing team, or someone would say, oh, I've done business with them for so long, or I have this relationship with them that is so good that I would actually go out of my way to refer them to you. Right. And so this really is kind of what your clients are experiencing. This is probably the first time that you've ever kind of walked them through that portal, which is it's a difficult thing to kind of grasp, is walking people all the way down this 8 or 9, depending on the image that you look at, this 8 or 9 step journey where you're actually creating people that are going to advocate and promote your business for you. So it's a very, very difficult thing as far as pinpointing exactly who your audience is. I guess the way that I would describe it's a very fluid thing, right? It's something that is always changing, something that you always have to keep your eye on, and then think about this customer value journey here and ask you about it, not me, because like I said, this is something that I've grabbed secondhand, but it was something that I thought was very, very cool food for thought, especially for the people that you're doing business with that are new into their business and trying to think about what is that, chronology of the way that I walk someone down being from just meeting me to being a client to actually sending me referrals is, the finding a way to kind of implement all of those stages is a very, very important part. So just some food for your thought for the actual entrepreneurs that are listening. For you, I wanted you to outline your ideal clients for me, right? And the way that I want you to do that is kind of describe them to me as like your pay your bills client, your go on vacation client, and your retirement client. Okay. What are those levels of clients that people that you're looking to actually engage with?
Well, the pay the bills clients are the ones that typically in the real estate sphere that need consistent marketing collateral. So those are, and I have a few of those that are my industrial brokers are the ones that I
so
really
like kind
like
of
right
every
now.
time they're adding a listing, they want you to give them the ammunition that they need to sell it to someone.
Yeah, and so they'll over the years they've gotten to know me better and my capabilities from those different types of marketing, digital to print, across that spectrum. So definitely those. My kind of go on vacation clients would be the ones that I can consult for and come in and see them through a strategy session where they understand, okay, how is our brand, like you said earlier, the market is fluid. So it's going to change over time. And so maybe they need a little strategy reset or a refresh. And so that particular client would be really good to have come in and say, okay, our business has been doing good. How can we take it to that next level? What can we do with our brand to push it onto that next tier? And then retirement would just be, honestly, doing a podcast where I talk to creatives in the real estate space and brokers or anyone connected to it, and just having them explain, where they're seeing the market at present or their creative and inventive ways of accomplishing said task.
Kind of becoming that thought leader in that industry,
right.
monetizing that information.
Right.
Yeah,
that's kind of the end goal is getting to that point. Because I love, like I said, this last year has just really been entertaining for me to get back out and speak with people and connect with them on a different level, and then offer them services if they need them. But if they don't, offer some advice and then say thanks. We'll look forward to working with you in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. So, no, that's a great way to build a relationship. If people want to talk to you, how do they find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. It's probably the best place to find me right now. It's more attention on LinkedIn. It's pretty easy to find. I'm kind of the only one.
Yeah. You have a little bit of a unique name.
I do. Or you can look me up on Tingen Creative on my own website there, and you can contact me through the contact form or whatever. But those are the two places that I would recommend. I do have a YouTube channel, but it's just beginning.
Nice.
And so
maybe we can help with that.
It needs some work. Yeah, I would love to have
we'll shout it out
through.
Yeah. Send me everything, all of your, everything that you're interested in growing over the next 12 months. Whenever you put it out, whenever I put out the video, I'll be sure to link it all.
Excellent.
And then the way that we always close the podcast here. Have you heard the illusion burn the ship before?
I have because Cortez.
Cortez lands on a beach, burn all the ships. We're not going back. Right?
No, it's a fantastic motivator.
I
hope his guys kind of knew what was going on, but
they brought smallpox. You know what I mean? So they they cleared the path for themselves on accident, I think. But that's kind of an illusion that we use to business. You know what I mean? It's kind of there's that light switch moment that you flip that there is, you say, I'm an entrepreneur now. I'm going all in on my business. I'm committing. I'm going to figure out a way to make this work. And usually people can boil it down to one moment, and some people can. That's okay too. But it just kind of depends how your mind works. But what does that feel like? Emotionally and physically, describe that to us, and describe us, the people that are maybe fearful of that exact moment of flipping that light switch behind the camera here. Why should they seek out that same type of fulfillment?
Well, and for me, it's kind of been going on for a couple of years. I've had this itch to do something more, to be something bigger. So part of that itch was, I'm going to go to this MBA program, and I'm going to do that. And it was really fascinating. But that itch didn't get scratched with that. Mm-hmm. And so, again, my brother just poking me to do this, and again, it goes back into that fear. What if I take this step? But what if I don't? Where's that regret going to lie if I don't take this opportunity right now to, engage in something that I can be a greater part of? And that's really the big thing for me, is finding something I can be a bigger part of. I loved being the senior creative in kind of every career path that I've chosen, but I can be something more. And we can all be something more. We just have to put the effort in.
Yeah.
And so my kids were grown. I didn't have as many responsibilities. My wife, she wanted to do her own thing, and so she's taking.
What does she do now?
She is a recruiter.
Oh, nice.
She recruits recruiters for tech.
That's a wonderful industry. I'm interested in owning a company like that one day, because they're, the whole, you're kind of feeding people opportunities. You know what I mean? And it's a cool thing, because actually Shelly, she actually worked on the life insurance side of recruitment, where when people were actually recruited to sell life insurance, she went through that, the deliverance phase, where she would actually get them licensed with all the carriers and go through the process of getting them licensed to sell life insurance. And a very, very close friend of mine owns a woman-owned recruitment agency for tech, talent acquisition agency, whatever you want to call it. But it's a wonderful industry, and it creates residual income, kind of like my industry as well, So it's a very, very cool industry, because people end up being very, very thankful for what you do. So.
Yeah, she really enjoys that. And so with those kind of changes in life, I was like, it's time to do something bigger, something larger.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm telling you right now, there are people that are listening that are in that exact same place. Like I said before, our relatability is the number one thing to us. We want people to understand that we're people just like people, So there are people out there that are going through that exact same thing. So it's very, very cool, my friend.
Well, the fun thing about it, over the last year, my family, my kids and my wife have all said, you're much more relaxed. You're much more happy than you were sitting behind your desk.
Yeah.
So it's been an interesting journey so far, just the 1 year. I made the goals that I had for last year, and I'm trying to push to double those goals this year. We'll see how that goes. But it's been a fun journey, and I highly recommend it to anybody. If you're, on that fence, take it.
Absolutely.
Burn that fence, burn the ship, and just go do it, because you won't regret it. I don't think.
Yeah, and hopefully this podcast has introduced those people that are weighing their option to some, a bunch of people that want to bring value to them too. So thanks for being a part of that. Thanks for kind of shining the light on the path for some of the people that are still wondering it themselves, because it is a tough thing. We both know that it's a deep ocean to jump into. So
For sure.
I think I'm going to set a goal for myself to quit using so many metaphors on this podcast.
Well, no, you're right. I mean, those metaphors work. And
Yeah, they
see,
do, until you start like throwing them up on other people, and then all you can do is give them 8 metaphors, and people don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but
maybe I can make my language a little more practical.
But they tell a good story
they
instantly, and you know it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so that's what we use to tell those quick stories where we don't have enough time to tell the full stories.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. Well, thank you for being a part of Burn the Ship, my friend. I really, really do appreciate it. And hopefully, I want to talk to you about a couple of things once we turn the camera off, because I think I have a couple of pretty cool opportunities for you. But anything that we can do outside of that, anything that as your business progresses and things change, if you need any introductions or anything that we may have within our network, please let me know. I'd love to introduce you to some people.
I would love it. I
Yeah,
would love it. And,
no problem.
And if you want to reach out to me to help you, start your business, I'm happy to do that. While I do focus mostly on real estate, I'm happy to help the burgeoning entrepreneur launch their brand, to really get it going, to help you do that research.
Well, nobody markets that industry. You know what I mean? There isn't a lot, or not industry, but I guess in that sector of time, really, there's not a lot of marketing companies that say, hey, I want to take you with not very much money and no customers yet, and help you outline your business. So I know that goes a long way with people, and there are people that
I'm happy to help with that, and we could work on, if there's not funds right now, we can work on a deal to make it work for later on.
Well, we appreciate that, my friend. If there's anything else that you want to leave the audience with, the platform is yours, the floor is yours, but that's all I have.
I think the biggest thing is, take that leap. If you're considering it and you feel good about what your opportunities are, do it.
Absolutely.
You're not going to regret it.
Well, this has been Burn the Ship. Till next time, thank you, my friend. Appreciate that again.